Today, in the media conference with Lal Goel, which is brought to you by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, मलनाडु टीवी इंडिया, न्यूज गांव से, संवाद सरोकार न्यूज, भारत पोस्ट न्यूज, कारू न्यूज, organ donation India Foundation, and Gyan. Our endeavor is to enlighten you with the current topic. But before I will go on the current topic, I would like to wish all our viewers a happy new year, and especially those who have not joined our yesterday very, very special program of Usha Uttap concern. And I would like to inform you all that we are very happy to inform that yesterday we have achieved a milestone that more than 5 million viewers were there in Karnataka and Kerala on the Malnadu TV India as well as on V4 News. Those who have watched the program of Usha Uttap concerned, apart from all other channels what we are relaying our program live telecast. So it's a new milestone for media conference with Lal Goel, and it is only possible, it was made possible because of you all, our esteemed viewers. So thank you very much, and once again a happy new year. Now we would like to inform you that today's our topic is marriage versus live-in relationship. Marriage, also called matrimony or wedlock, is a culturally and often legally recognized union between people called spouses. It establishes rights and obligations between them, as well as between them and their children, and between them and their in-laws. It is considered a cultural universal, but the definition of marriage varies between cultures and religions and over time. Typically, it is an institution in which interpersonal relationships, usually sexual, are acknowledged or sanctioned. In some cultures, marriage is recommended or considered to be compulsory before pursuing any sexual activities. A marriage ceremony is called a wedding. Live-in relationship is an arrangement where two people are not married but live together. They are often involved in a romantic or sexually intimate relationship on a long-term or permanent basis. Such arrangements have become increasingly common in Western countries since the late 20th century, being led by changing social views, especially regarding marriage, gender roles, and religion. The union of two persons that is formally recognized by law is known as marriage. It is a formal commitment between the couple. On the other hand, live-in relationships refers to a kind of an arrangement where a couple decides to live together as if married. This kind of relationship is generally not legal or religiously sanctioned. Marriages have been and will always be an important ritual of the societies across the world. It involves legal and religious activities. Marriages are, excuse me. Marriages are socially accepted. Generally, the couple involves a man and woman. However, in some societies, same-sex marriages are also recognized. Marriages are often associated with the sexual complementaries and permanence. Marriages come along with the status of married and also with some particular rights, benefits, and even obligations related to the marriage. Live-in relationship is a kind of arrangement where a couple decide to live together. It still maintains the single status of the couple. The arrangement is quite similar to a marriage except the type of recognition. In many societies, a live-in relationship is not socially accepted as the privilege is only associated with the marriage. Most of the couples prefer this arrangement as this is a way to test the compatibility. Both have their own set of advantages and disadvantages. Thus, it is quite difficult to favor one on the other. Love is a beautiful emotion that brings two people together irrespective of their color, sex, race, caste, or class. However, to enhance or explore that love, the couples need to spend more time with each other and maybe live together as well. Here is when marriage or a live-in relationship comes into play. Marriage is a more legal and socially accepted form of relationship between couples. There is a social validation that has its own appeal and satisfaction. However, live-in relationships are the new and ongoing trends among the youth that gives them the freedom to live with their partners without any pressure of arranged marriages. Both of these socially constructed institutions of love and relationships have their pros and cons. In context of the Indian society, living with someone before marriage is still treated as a taboo, especially in a man-woman relationship. It corresponds to the idea of virginity, especially of women, which is considered violated if and when she engaged in a physical relationship with a man before her marriage. She is then seen as someone impure or unholy, which is a traditional thought but widely accepted. This is why a live-in relationship is highly criticized by the society. In contrast to this, a section of the youth may not agree with what the conservative side of the society has to say. They feel that live-in relationship gives them the sense of freedom as well as the feeling of conjugal life without the restrictions posed by the institution of marriage. In a live-in relationship, one can leave or stay whenever he or she feels things are not working out. But marriages can take a toll as they meant to be together for a lifetime, or in the Indian context, for 7 lifetimes. Also, the legality involving a marriage makes it a difficult and time-consuming process to dissolve it or seek a divorce. Marriages are said to be made in heaven, and this is what the majority of the people believe. Subconsciously, this idea is fixed in the minds of the people, and knowingly or unknowingly, the couples in a marital relationship work hard to make their relationship last for a long time and sometimes until death does them apart. Therefore, marriages are a more stable form of a relationship. In contradiction, a live-in can be too liberating at times. With no restrictions, there are more possibilities of instability and insecurity. If you have not committed in a marital and a legal bond, you cannot be sure of it. Recently, Indian cinema came up with a movie featuring Kartik Aaryan and Kirti Senan called Lukka Chuppi that portrayed the troubles of the Indian youth regarding live-in relationships. It depicts the dilemma of a couple who decides to know each other better by living together before choosing to spend their lives together. But their conservative families mistake them to be married and great confusion follows. We all know that love needs to be explored as it has many facets to it. The question is, if this exploration can only be done through marriage. Marriage and live-in relationships are choices that should be free from societal pressures. One may believe in the idea of holy matrimony, but one should not be criticized for his or her decision to consider a live-in relationship. And to discuss this very, very important and relevant topic, marriage versus live-in relationship, we are having a very elite, those who are well experienced, those who are authority, and those who are well known about this particular situation, and especially in the Indian context. Panelists are with us. And I would like to invite my first panelist guest, and she is Advocate Anita Mahapatra. Advocate Anita Mahapatra is an eminent lawyer and partner in Attorney Alliance law firm based out in Delhi, having more than 24 years of working in various industries and fields, out of which 12 years in the legal field. Being a daughter of an army officer, she had an opportunity to her schooling in various states of India. She was active NCC cadet and marched on Rajpath in the year 1992. She was awarded silver medal in NCC. At present, she is helping most needy women who are the victims of or at the hand of domestic violence, sexual harassment, rape, molestations, dowry, and property issues by providing free legal services. Apart from her profession, she is active marathon runner, a fitness freak, a passionate dancer and theater personality. Welcome, Advocate Anita Mahapatra on our show. Advocate Anita Mahapatra, first I should apologize because being Sunday today, you are a marathon runner and you always run. And you told me that please don't keep a program on Sunday, but this topic, and I know that the others have difficulty during the working days. From tomorrow, the courts are opening. So I decided to keep it because it's a very, very important and relevant topic nowadays. And people should understand that what is good, what is bad, and why they should criticize and why they should not criticize. So that's why we have to take this, keep the program on Sunday. But I'm sure that you are going to give the inputs which will be beneficial for the society at large. So I would like to know from you the marriage versus live-in relationship. Advocate Anita Mahapatra, please.
Thank you, Mr. Lal Goel, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak about for such a nice topic. In fact, burning topic. Good morning and New Year to all the panelists. Good morning, New Year to everyone, all the viewers. Yeah, Mr. Lal Goel, we are back to virtual hearing from tomorrow onwards. No physical hearing from tomorrow again, due to Omicron Baba Zindabad. And yes, I could not do the long run today because of today's webinar. Anyway, it's a good topic to speak about. So in recent years, our country has witnessed drastic changes in the matter of relationships between opposite sex. The present generation perceives such relationship in a way different from what has perceived earlier. In the context of our socio-cultural values, it was considered to be taboo, like you also said, for men and women to live together under the same roof without being legally married to each other. Similarly, the idea of having premarital sex was considered to be highly immoral. But these beliefs and taboos are gradually, fading away, and the society is opening up about the idea of premarital sex and live-in relationships. Freedom, privacy, profession, education, globalization, and other factors are responsible for this change in mindset. Points put in favor of such relationships are that such relationships are a way to understand the partners in a better way and to check if the partners are compatible to each other. Now, present generation, unlike their predecessors, considers it necessary for them to understand each other in a fairly reasonable way before entering into a formal wedlock. So once someone enters into a formal wedlock, the breakup becomes very cumbersome, very lengthy, complicated, and then troublesome to all concerned if the partner finds that they are not at all compatible to each other. But living together for some time without entering into a legal marriage provides for an easy breakup without the need of taking recourse to cumbersome legal procedures. But such relationship without any duties and obligation attached has its disadvantages, like you also mentioned that. Such relationships are not binding upon the partners, whereas in a typical marriage, the partners are provided certain rights and bestowed with obligation and duties to be performed by both husband and wife. The woman is often in a disadvantageous position in live-in relationships. I remember a bench of Rajasthan State Human Rights Commission in September 2019 even termed as relationship against the dignity of women. Such relationship is against the dignity of women and made a recommendation to enact a law against it. But the decision received widespread protest and criticism from human rights activists, so it didn't happen. And such relationships lead to multiple social as well as logistic problems in day-to-day living. They face legal hurdles of multiple types, like opening a joint bank account, visas, then insurance, visitation to hospitals, and so on. And children born out of such relationships are exposed to mental trauma and have problems of smooth inheritance and property of the parents. I will give you two examples of difficulties faced by couples in live-in relationships without being legally wed. You remember international chess player Anuradha Beniwal. She was peacefully living in with her partner in a live-in relationship without any objection from the family members. Through the response, though the response of the society was not, like some sort of silent disapproval, sometimes later her partner received a job offer at London and she decided to move along with him. Visa's problem was anticipated, and as they were not married to each other in a legally acceptable way, to avoid these troubles, they had to get married in rush. So I'll tell you another incident. A couple in Kerala remarried in live-in relationship for 40 years. They were against the social institution of marriage and holding the view that love did not need approval by the society and the society sanctity of marriage. They had made the decision, to live together and forever, and did it precisely for 4 decades of their life. But after such a long stint of live-in relationship, they decided to legalize their relationship, not out of personal compulsion, but only to avoid legal and administrative problems faced by their grandchildren. So, okay, this is all, social thing. Now, being an advocate, let me give you some legal aspect of it. There is no specific legislation, no social rules, no customs in India regulating the matter of live-in relationship. So therefore, various high courts and Supreme Court of India have timely, considered numerous aspects of live-in relationship and have tried to understand and explain the phenomena of live-in relationship, which is indeed an, of course, alien concept to the Indian society, where only marriage is considered as a secret tie between a couple and the marriage is presumed to be a license to have sexual intercourse. But the Indian legal mechanism certainly lacks separate legislation regarding a live-in relationship. However, the Domestic Violence Act 2005 in section 2F is moderately concerned with the concept of live-in relationship and states that live-in relationship falls within the ambit of domestic relationship. So live-in relationship, now many judgment has come, like live-in relationship between consenting adults is not considered illegal under the Indian laws. Like in 2006, that was the first case. In case of Lata Singh versus State of UP, it was held that a live-in relationship between 2 consenting adults of opposite sex, though perceived as immoral, does not amount to any offense under the law. And in another important case, Khushbu versus Kanaimal, the Supreme Court observed, though concept of live-in relationship is considered immoral by the society, but is definitely not illegal in the eyes of law. Living together is right to life, and therefore it cannot be held illegal. In live-in relationship continues for a long period of time and the couple present themselves to the society as husband-wife, they get recognized as being legally married. As early as 1978, in Badri Prasad versus Deputy Director Consolidation matter, observation was made that if man and woman who live as husband and wife in society are compelled to prove few will succeed. And Indra Sharma versus one Indra Sharma case was there. It was another landmark case of the matter of live-in relationship in which implications of different types of relationships were examined. If both the partners are unmarried and enter into relationship mutually, it does not constitute any offense. And prior to 2018, domestic cohabitation of a married or unmarried man with a married woman constitute a criminal offense of adultery, but for the man only under section 497 of IPC, not for women. But this section was annulled by the Supreme Court of India in one case, Joseph Shine, in September 2018, as the court came to the conclusion that it was violative of the Article 14 of Constitution of India. The section treated men and women unequally, as only the man and not the woman is subject to prosecution for adultery, So moreover, it was only the husband of the concerned woman who could prosecute the man who was involved in the act, and the woman cannot prosecute her husband for adultery. So that's the reason why it was annulled. Now, from the judgment of various high courts and Supreme Court of India, it can be concluded that the Indian judiciary has most of the time practiced interpretation of laws while protecting the rights of women and children. associated with live-in relationship. And certainly the Indian legal mechanism lacks separate legislation which must deal with the cases of live-in relationships and must provide with codified laws and punitive measures. Now, this is general view in terms of society and legal. If you ask me about my views, I will talk about fundamental of marriage. Why has marriage come up in the society? Let's think about it. After all, why is it that we want to be with the opposite sex? It is just nature system so that you can reproduce. Nature wants you to reproduce, so you get attracted to the opposite sex. Now, it's a simple difference. Nature has made the perpetuation of the race, but because this need is there within us, and because we have a few more sensibilities and stronger emotions compared to animal, we institutionalize our sexuality. That is what marriage is. And because we have to nurture our children and bring them up, unless there is a committed atmosphere, it won't happen. So we created the institution of marriage. And so that our sexuality and caring for children also handled, and children grow up in a more stable atmosphere. Now, if you just look at these physical needs as what they are, they won't be with you for too long. They are strong during a certain part of your life. After that, they fade away. But now this generation have been told that without a passionate relationship, your life is empty. Western part of population is trying to demolish the institution of marriage. The so-called rebellious ones think marriage is bondage, so they don't want marriage. They don't want to marry. They just want free relationship or cohabitation or whatever. Rebelling without any purpose doesn't mean anything. It is just the ego. The ego always wants to break everything and so do something new. But if you carry on with this new thing for 10 years, this will also become old and miserable. Even couples who are in live-in relationships are fighting with each other. So these problems are not because of marriage or live-in relationship. It is because of people's own incompleteness and immaturity. So I would say that demolishing the institution of marriage would be foolish right now because we still don't have a good substitute for it. Yeah, it is something we created for our convenience, and we don't have an alternate better than that. With marriage, there was some sense of commitment. That commitment pulled you back if you went off the way, and it put you back on track a little bit. Uncommitted relationship can cause an enormous amount of insecurity in people. This is what has happened in West. Now, to conclude, I would say live-in relationship may be okay in some circumstances, but the importance of institution of marriage for maintaining the social order cannot be denied. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Advocate Anita Mahapatra, for giving your very, very clear views about this marriage versus live-in relationship. And Advocate Anita Mahapatra has quoted many of the judgments passed, given orders, given many times the observations by the high courts and Supreme Court. But she says that they have not given any clear-cut order till now whether the live-in relationship, because the Supreme Court says it's not, it might be immoral, but it's not illegal. But there are so many instances which has happened and where still the society is not accepting in India, while in other countries it has become quite a norm, as well as the youth generation, the young generation or the youths of our time now, they are also finding it difficult to go for the marriage institution, and they prefer to know each other before they want to enter in the marriage institution. Thank you very much. And your views, Advocate Anita, is very clear that you prefer the marriage in comparison to the live-in relationship. So she says that in present context and in India, at least this is better than the live-in relationship. Thank you very much, Ms. Anita. Definitely when I will ask the question as a devil's advocate, then I will definitely ask some difficult question to you for your views. Now, I would like to invite my next panelist guest, and she is Miss Karishma Chhatrapati. Miss Karishma is the inner transformation coach. She is the founder of the Being Spiritual with KUC. She is knowledge partner of Fitja Private Limited, Mumbai. She started out as a journalist, then progressed to an editorial desk job, and on the side, she completed her master's in psychotherapy and counseling and master's in psychology. For 8 years, she doubled, rather tripled up as an editor, freelance writer, and corporate coach and psychotherapist. Then in 2008, she switched completely to coaching, psychotherapy, and counseling, used a myriad of modalities to help her clients. Her head was filled with knowledge of tarot and angel card reading, Hindu rites and rituals from a spiritual perspective, crystal healing, Reiki, guided meditations, mindfulness, hypnotherapy, astrology, rune casting, crystal ball gauging, art therapy, handwriting, and signature analysis, candle meditation, etc. I don't know any other type of astrology or any other type things left in India or not. Being spiritual with KUC, she crested communities. Her every blog post comes from a space of deeper understanding, wisdom brought about by the awareness that comes through experience of the lessons learned. Welcome, Miss Karishma, on our show. Miss Karishma, now there are two sides of your personality. One is where you are very much involved spiritually with the Indian philosophy, where you are astrology and whatnot. And the other side is being a counselor. Now, because this issue requires both the sides, and both the sides are opposite for this issue. So now we would like to know marriage versus live-in relationship. Miss Karishma Chhatpati, please.
Thank you so much, Mr. Goel, for having me here. First thing, I would like to wish everyone an amazing 2022, maybe better than 2021. And I loved whatever I heard from Advocate Anita, because a part of me advocates live-in relationships because of the kind of counseling and the kind of coaching I've been doing. But there's a part of me that also advocates live-in relationships, because I feel by the end of the day, everyone has to make their own choice. Having said this, I would like to bring into today's session a lot about the mindset of relationships. First thing, to understand that there are two different mindsets applied to both types of relationships. I'll first address live-in relationships, because that seems to be a very contemporary, millennial way of looking at relationships. So when people get into a live-in relationships, they believe that there's more freedom to be, that there are no responsibilities as such. Each one can go out there, experience life, do whatever they need to, come back home. They're like roommates living together, yet enjoying the physical relationship, being out there. It's such a hip thing to do. It's something that's happening a lot more in the urban cities. However, what is really hard for them is to hold on to that sense of security. Because when you are married, and I believe in this, when you are married, it is sanctified at every level. It is sanctified legally, it is sanctified spiritually, and it gives you security. Now, what happens in a marriage is where the mindset shift happens. I feel that with great responsibility comes great power. But people coming to a marriage believe that responsibility means ego. I want it this way, I want it that way. No, it can't be done your way, it has to be done my way. And ego is what then destroys the sanctity of a marriage, which doesn't seem to exist in a live-in relationship, because live-in relationships don't thrive on any kind of responsibilities. You're living in together, you're paying the rent, or maybe someone's got a house in which the other partner can live in. Then there are no responsibilities, so there are no egos, but there is insecurity. In a marriage, there are responsibilities, there is ego. But that doesn't have to happen all the time. Because as I said, with great responsibility comes great power. If two partners can come together and understand how to survive with each other, sharing responsibility, owning up, and dissolving the ego of I, me, and mine, and becoming us, then marriages are so beautiful. That is the way to be, because we all thrive in security. We need to be secure human beings. When I know I'm in a marriage and I'm secured by the law of the land, I'm secured by the spiritual presence of, whether we call it gods and goddesses and the priests or whatever it may be. I know that I'm taken care of and I can take care of a family. In a live-in relationship, are you that secure? Do you know what the future is? Do you know that if tomorrow the live-in relationship does not work out, then you have to walk out with nothing, and all that you've accumulated, there's no law to protect you? You know, even I have come across cases of live-in relationships where there has been physical abuse. And sadly, when the woman goes running to the cop station, they are asked, what is a relationship? And when they are told it is just a live-in relationship, even the cops are not very polite then, because they don't sanctify it. So it's unfortunately not dignified. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'm not saying live-in relationships are bad, but I'm just saying if you want to be in a protected relationship, then why not be married? Just remove the cap of saying, oh my God, I don't like boundaries. But every relationship needs boundaries. Every relationship. Come into a marriage, hold on to boundaries. Be in a live-in relationship, hold on to your boundaries. Yes, there is abuse in marriage and there is a lot more abuse in live-in relationships. They don't make the headlines because nobody recognizes the value of a live-in relationship. But abuses in marriage do make the headlines because it is sanctified by the law. Coming back to the mindset. Do you really choose to live in insecurity where the relationship can end as and when? That's the nature of a live-in relationship. Do you want to be in security knowing that till death do us apart and even beyond I'm taken care of? That is the reality. Being together in it, walking together. I myself, I've gotten married really late. I have not had any live-in relationships, but I did get married late. And I realized, because of being a psychotherapist, a coach, a counselor, whatever the hats I wear, that any successful marriage is based on a relationship of togetherness, respect, self-awareness that you bring to the table. And that is possible for everybody. Whatever you choose to do, whether you choose to live in or you choose to be married, I humbly request everyone who's watching this, check your mindset and see what you bring into this relationship, because that responsibility of yourself is primary, irrespective of your choice. And yet I would say this very humbly. I do respect marriage, and I hope that everyone respects it and chooses that too. Having said that, I would really like to thank you all. I'm waiting to hear from the other panelists, and thank you so much, Mr. Goel, for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Ms. Karishma, for giving your views. And Ms. Karishma has given the merits of marriage over the live-in relationship. She says live-in relationship is okay, but one has to understand that what is the security. She says there are cases of domestic violence even in the live-in relationship. And she also mentioned that once, whenever they go approach, if the lady approach to the police and the Thane, and then the cops always just see them in a very derogatory way because they think that this is not a holy thing. And she says it is better to have a marriage and one, because you will have more responsibilities, you will have and the sense of response which you will have. But otherwise, if you are in live-in relationship, there is no responsibility and you can walk out anytime. And that is why there is no security for future. What will be your future will be if you will walk out without anything. So thank you very much, Ms. Karishma, for giving your views. Definitely when I will ask some questions. I'm sure that you will be able to give more clarity to all our viewers. Thank you very much. Now I would like to invite my next panelist guest, and she is Advocate Nidhi Banga. Advocate Nidhi Banga is the Central Government Counsel at Delhi High Court, New Delhi. Advocate Nidhi Banga is an advocate registered with Bar Council of Delhi in 2009. She is an employed arbitrator with Delhi International Arbitration Center in DSC. She is also a special counsel for Uttarakhand State in Supreme Court and National Green Tribunal. She established NB Law Firm in 2016, primarily dealing with family law cases. Welcome, Advocate Nidhi Banga, on our show. Advocate Nidhi Banga, you have heard what Advocate Anita Mahapatra as well as what Ms. Karishma Chhatrapati has mentioned. And both have given their views. In the last, they have mentioned about their personal views, which it's tilting towards the marriage. Rather, they are supporting the marriage institution in comparison to the live-in relationship. Now, you being an advocate and you are dealing with family law cases mainly, so you might be dealing with lots of cases, divorce cases, domestic violence cases, etc., etc. But we would like to know your views of marriage versus live-in relationship. Advocate Nidhi Banga, please.
First of all, thank you, Mr. Lal Goel, for giving me this opportunity to speak on this very sensitive topic of the society in today's what we all are facing. We all have grown-up children and we understand what is happening. And thank you all the panelists, especially Ms. Anita Mahapatra, who has already summed up the legal, the legalities of live-in relationship. So live-in relationship is getting kind of recognition in law with a series of judicial precedents only. There is no statute with regards to it. There is no definition of live-in relationship anywhere. So Article 21 of Constitution of India is basically, which Ms. Mahapatra has already summed up, is basically protecting the live-in relationship couples. And there are various judgments now coming up from, though it is from both sides. Recently, Punjab Haryana High Court is announcing a lot of judgments for protecting live-in relationship couples who need protection from the society pressures, and there is they are not being accepted in the society, so they are getting that protection. Agreed. But now then, how women is protected in live-in relationship? She's protected in as per Section 2F, Domestic Violence Act. Since it is a domestic violence, it's a domestic relationship of certain kinds. They are living, and in various judgments, it has been said that it cannot be like just temporarily living, just going on a vacation, and then it may be called as a domestic relationship. There has to be certain guidelines to term it as a live-in relationship. Then only a woman gets protected. So woman gets the protection of maintenance only from the live-in partner and protection otherwise, that a live-in partner may not abuse the woman physically or in any other manner. So she can get that protection. But as rightly said by Karishma ji, that there is no security in this kind of a relationship because there is no law recognizing it. So once they are getting apart, so she doesn't get anything. Rightly said. Now, why live-in relationship is happening and it's so common? The mindset is, yes, one of the reasons, but the other thing is marriage means between two families. It is not between two couples only. It is happening between two families. So there are family cultures which need to merge and which may not be acceptable to both the spouses. They do accept each other, but they may not accept especially the girl may not accept the culture of the boy's family. It may be very pressurizing. The peer pressure is very high. So that is why they're choosing to live first. The boy is choosing to live away, and the girl is also choosing to live away from her parents. The boy is choosing to live away from his parents, and then they choose to live together. So that, yes, the mindset has to be very, very strong first, that the girl is independent enough that she doesn't need any security. She doesn't need to be culturally bound. And that's why they choose to live together all by themselves against the family, against both the families. Yes, there are pros and cons, but coming to this though once Mr. Lal Goel ji had a discussion with me that pro which we would be talking. So I always preferred marriage first. But yes, going through the changing society, why live-in is important, because live-in sometimes is giving them longevity more than marriage, because they are able to live independently without any peer pressure. Now the major concern of this live-in relationship not being recognized legally is only for the children. The children born out of these relationships do not get legitimacy, so they are not legitimate children. Now then succession also. So then here the father is not the natural guardian, but the mother is the natural guardian, and then the child can only claim his succession from the mother, because father is just um, so this they are not getting that legitimacy, not even as per section 16 of Hindu Marriage Act. So that is one concern. Most of the time, live-in relationship couples do not conceive or do not deliver children, but there are many examples where they have children as well. So if they are not mindful enough to take care of and they just want to just be away from the responsibility, and they just shed it off, and then it becomes very difficult. So yes, if we talk about couples mindset, then they need to be very, very strong, rather more strong, because there is no family support behind that, behind them. Because in a marriage, some marriages are working because of the families and not because of the couples themselves. So there is no family support here. So then it becomes all the more important that the couples are mindful enough to take care of and responsible enough. They should be like impliedly responsible enough to take care of the relationship, and in a society also how they are portraying themselves, that is also very important. It should not be just like a casual affair and going entering in a live-in relationship, coming out. It shouldn't be like that. It should be a very, very responsible decision. Then it may be okay for the society. Society should not fall on its roots. That is my only suggestion to all the viewers here. So thank you so much. And as Mr. Lal Goel said, he would be asking some devil's advocate questions. So then I think we would be in a better position to conclude this.
Thank you very much, Advocate Nidhi Vanga, for giving your views. At least you have taken some side. I'm sure the youth who are in the live-in relationship, they found something, at least some words of console from your side, because you said that live-in relationship is also not that bad. Only problems are coming is about the children who are being born because of the live-in relationship, because they are not treated as a legal thing, and that's a big problem. But she says that live-in relationship is also in one way good, but marriage also, although she tried to put everything in balanced way, neither from the live-in relationship, and nowadays
it's a very difficult topic to decide.
Nowadays it is very also difficult situation, because you don't know right wing or left wing who is going to come and attack you. Why you have mentioned this, why you have taken the side of this. That is a big problem in our society today, is to take a stand. But yes, what she says is that marriage, sometimes even the family pressure makes the marriage work. That is a very, very important point she has made. But many times we have seen, because of the families, because of the sass, I will use the word, mainly the mother-in-law, the marriage breaks, and that's why the things happen. But anyway, it's what she says makes sense. Let's hope that in the next round, definitely she will be clarifying more things. Thank you very much, Advocate Nidhi Vanga, for giving your views. Now, I would like to invite my next panelist guest, and she's Miss Archana Kumar. Miss Archana Kumar is a recipient of National Merit Scholarship. She is a multifaceted, dynamic academician for over 2 decades, 23 years, imparting holistic education in maths and science at TM Hinduja National Sarvodaya High School and Junior College, Mumbai. Beside being a national badminton player, she is also an Iron Lady who is a social entrepreneur, enthusiast, an influencer, a motivator, a runner, fitness enthusiast, and a certified yogini. She won Best Teachers Award 2021 on the occasion of Teachers Day by TUM and Global TV Network. Yes, I was the chief guest in that program. So, although I was not knowing before that, so I have not favored you to win that award. She also won the Achievers Award for outstanding performance in badminton at the National Badminton Championship as winner, as well as being an empowered WMBL star on the occasion of Women's Day 2020. She won Inspiring and Motivating Facilitator Award by her institution for winning many prizes at ward zonal levels and representing school at state level for maths teaching aid at science exhibition competition. Her name finds mention in India Book of Records for having the maximum women participants in badminton tournament. Welcome, Miss Archana Kumar, on our show. Miss Archana Kumar, you heard two advocates, Advocate Anita Mahapatra as well as Advocate Nidhi Banga, as well as one counselor and Miss Karishma Chatpati. And they have given their views. Two are very, very strongly supporting the marriage institution, but Advocate Nidhi Banga has given a balanced view for both the sides. Now, you being neither an advocate nor a counselor, rather you are someone who is dealing with the youth, and you are dealing with the youth, and you know the mentality and the psychology of youth firsthand because you are an educator. Definitely, we would like to know your views on marriage versus live-in relationship. Miss Archana Kumar, please.
Thank you so much. Wishing everybody a very, very happy new year. Thank you, Goelji, for giving me this platform to put up my views on such a crucial and burning topic of today's. Since everything is almost spoken about technicalities and human aspect, I would rather, being an educator, I would like to emphasize more on the relationship. Basically, human being is a social animal, right? And being covered and legalized, taking care of the biological need, it takes us to marriage. And since it is not recognized, it is just a living. So basically, why do people adopt either of the systems? It's basically the good quality relationship. If a person is making an attempt to fall into relationship, if he or she is in a doubtful state of mind, okay, which he has developed over time, because human being, if you see, is basically takes care or is being channelized by semi-conscious brain. So here, semi-conscious brain, everything gets absorbed because mind keeps absorbing things from the nearby or in the surrounding. And person whom we love, we try to adopt things from them. It be your mom, parent, friend, colleague, teacher, anybody whom we love, we try to imbibe things from them. It's a simple behavior. So here, instead of first taking a side, I would first rather emphasize on certain crucial things which has been, I felt, is not spoken about by the previous panelists. So the human being is basically looking for a good quality relationship, and which is very much necessary for a sound mental health, because it gives you a sense of purpose, a belongingness, a meaning to your life. Okay, so here if we see our current system, here it is only a mechanical thing. It is very, very unfortunate to see that we have only been upholding the IQ. Where is the system which is imparting social values to our kids today? It's not their fault that they are being, say, influenced by Western. Why? It's not their fault, because the social media has taken up so much that they are exposed more to Western culture. Where do they get to see Indian culture? Tell me. Neither the textbooks, nor the joint families, nor movies, nothing. Nor exposure to the our deeply rooted Indian culture. The joint family earlier used to be a window to take care of the social values, the moral values, but where do the kids get to see them today? How do they imbibe it? They only know that they get into school, score good marks, they should have good IQs, they should get into classes, they should score good marks, good school, good college, good job, and a healthy lifestyle. So it's all shallow. There's no depth into it. So in order, whether they are taking the side of marriage or a live-in relationship, they are basically looking for a healthy relationship. And a child who has been fortunate, it's very good, very easy to take any side because he's ready to take risk getting into live-in relationship because he hasn't got any fear in back of his mind. But if we talk about a person whose childhood was not a very blessed one, he or she is running up with a fear, and then the doubts gets created in his mind, and definitely he will think he's not very sure of the relationship, and he will try to give it a try in a live-in relationship where he's carefree, and it is not wrong from his point of view, right? Because he has seen the risk, the pros and cons, and he is answerable tomorrow, right? So if we see in a bigger picture, a child will try only to get into a relationship safely. The legal hurdles are so much that anybody is scared of it today. Many who has got into marriage wedlock, a legalized wedlock, is not 100% happy. They are 80%, or maybe the percentage may vary. They have compromised because they have securities. They have backing of families. They have somebody who can take care of them. It be friends, society, people, family, anybody. They have a system which is at the backup. So they have maybe compromised because of those insurances which are taken care of, or properties what they inherit, whereas which is not the case in a live-in relationship. Surprisingly, very few know that live-in relationship was actually very much in vogue during Vedic time. In Vedic period, Indian system has actually got 8 kind of marriages: Brahma marriage, Daira marriage, Harsha marriage, Prajapatya marriage, and one of those is Gandharva marriage, which is actually very much in line with the live-in relationship, and which actually, according to Manu, it was very much a premarital relationship. It actually faded off because the repercussions of it was not very good, and hence the society tried to dissolve it and got legal things into picture because that had less of risk. So here my point of view is, rather than getting into which one is good or bad, since live-in relationship has just now caught up from West, it is been very much legalized, but civic rights are not attached to it. So why not strengthen our educational current system, which actually produces human being with wonderful social and moral values too? Right from the beginning, it is not the age when the child is in an adolescence looking for sex or taking care of the bodily urges. It all starts from within, from a very low age group. A newborn baby attaches to mom. It gets the entire mapping from his mother. So right from the beginning, the mechanism of a human being is that it tries to wire up things in his mind depending on the people and the surrounding, because he's very adaptive. It's a social animal, right? So if at all in our current system, if we give equal importance to social behavior and moral values along with the IQ and performance, maybe that would help us to get in line with Indian culture. Why do we have importance of marriage? Because you would see it is not just a marriage, it is union of souls. We connect from within. We actually do not know the person on the other hand if it is an arranged marriage. So the culture tradition slowly binds you, brings them closer, and that is how the souls connect. It is not about compatibility at all, because life has its own surprises. The person with whom you were very compatible, life may altogether land him or her on a different platform. A person can go handicapped. How then? Can we shrug our hands and we say, no, this is not the person whom I fell in love with? It's all about being sensible, adaptive, courageous, responsible, and having accountability, right? So actually what we see is, if in today's educational system, if we uh, give due importance to this, I think we would be able to create a wonderful society. And if human beings in a society are good, I don't think which side they take matters a lot at all. So I see as only two things. One is marriage, where the legality should be little, should not be as cumbersome as it is existing in today's, right? Depending on, say, the age-old dowry things, maybe I do not agree with my parent collecting so much dowry and troubling the other side. Okay, so the mindset of today's youth is that they need not comply with what they have been taught, or with their parents and grandparents. They may totally have another view. So why not give them an opportunity to make the right decision? Because it's going to have an impact on society. Because people try to imbibe on things what they see around. So why not give them the proper guidance, make them more accountable, responsible, and have this mindset that everything comes with a responsibility. They have to be an accountability. And slowly, if they see the failure rate is lesser, maybe the system may legalize it and the civic rights would be attached. And then I don't think there would make any difference. The child who is born to even either a live-in relationship or a marriage, they would be inheriting the property very smoothly, and also see that they come up being a good human being, where they don't have problem adopting relationship with others because they don't have that model in mind. They have difficulty for children who are really come out of broken relationships. So why not educate each and everybody, where in today's society everybody is failing to impart values, moral values. There is no system at all. Tell me, where is today's youth given the moral values? It's very easy to blame them, but show where's the system. We have actually forgotten it. And last but not the least, I would say that if legal systems are simplified and given them little more choice, let them take any side. And I don't think there is anything wrong going into live-in, provided they are very responsible. So automatically marriage, so when legal things come, the live-in merges with marriage. So they would be very much open and very adaptive to the marriage, which has been very much our Indian culture. So henceforth, I would say that the change is required in the society, in the educational system, into every human being. We have to take care of our houses, our homes, where the bonding between the family members is very, very important. Spending quality time. The thing is missing. It's going shallower and shallower. So I would convey that let's do it all together. Once the legalities merge, there is no difference between live-in and marriage, because once they are very much confident about their partners, they will very much adopt the marriage institute and get wedlocked permanently. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Archana Kumar, for giving a new dimension of the discussion. And she says, where are the moral values? Why we are not teaching the moral values in the schools or the homes today? And she mentioned about the live-in relationship. She says it's in our Hindu culture, Gandhar Vivaha. Out of the 8 wedlocks, she says, why not Gandhar Vivaha when it was also legalized at that time? Why not now? And she says, the law of the marriage should be more simplified so that the girl or the boy would not like to go for live-in relationship. They would like to go for the marriage, because right now they're afraid, because they know once they enter in the wedlock, tomorrow if there is any problem, law is very, very tough and difficult, and this is the practicality also. So she is of the view that if we will simplify the legal system, the laws, and then definitely the live-in relationship definitely will merge with the marriage. After this, staying for some time, they may. And she says, legalize everything, even for the legal marriage. After the child born out of the live-in relationship is also a human being, and he or she have to be a good citizen and without any mental block about illegality or whatnot. So according to her, live-in relationship and the marriage is almost the same thing. Only thing, the difference is basically the legal and our mindset. We have to change our mindset at our home and the society and the legal setting. Thank you very much, Ms. Archana Kumar, for giving your views. Now, my first question goes to Advocate Anita Mahapatra. Advocate Anita Mahapatra, as you and Advocate Nidhi mentioned, there is no statute as far as the live-in relationship is concerned. Now, my question to you is, when we know that there are live-in relationships in India, do you think Indian politicians or Indian legislators and judiciary have lack of will, or I can say they are spineless to create a proper statute? Why they have not created a proper statute till now? After all, many, it's not that a few, many are staying in the live-in relationship. And when it is a norm, why they are afraid? They just give observation, but they are not ready to make a statute. Why they are not passing a legislation in the parliament? Why they are not coming out? Because they have a fear of the social outbreak. Why not? Why the Supreme Court is not taking care? My question is very, very straight. After all, they are also human beings, as Ms. Archana said. The child, what is the problem with the child after the child has not done anything wrong? And this is not a wrong thing. You mentioned that the Supreme Court said that this is not illegal. When this is not illegal, make it pure legal with a proper things. What you say about this, Advocate Anita Mahapatra?
Yeah, Mr. Goel, I think it will definitely come in one point of time, because even recently, Punjab and Haryana High Court has, given protection to a live-in relationship partner. Now, just think, they are into live-in relationship and they have sought for their protection from the parents' side, because they have fear of some attack. Now they have given protection from the court, so it is there in their mind, as well as with politician, with legislation. It will come definitely, like if you talk about 377. Now that has also annulled once in 2018 in the case of Navtej. That position was reversed in Navtej. It was not allowed in India, and it was not accepted by society, by no one. But finally, it was reversed in Navtej Singh Zohar versus Union of India, and Supreme Court annulled the Section 337 insofar as it is criminalized the homosexual acts of two or more adults in private who possess competence to consent. So I don't think it will. It is completely denied by the society or by politician or by legislation. It will come because we take some time to adapt something new thing, and this is really new thing. New generation is saying it's not new. We should come forward and let's. It is a matter of compatible. Like Archana, however, did not agree for compatible. What I'm saying, they are looking for compatible and then go for marriage. And of course, legislation and politicians, Supreme Court, everything, some PIL has to be filed before the court. It will come definitely. This is my views.
Okay, thank you, Advocate Anita. But till when we have to wait? After all, we are coming out with the legislation right and left. We are passing that legislation in few minutes in the parliament without discussion, but we are not ready to take a risk because of the voters thing. And everyone, politicians are afraid of the voters. and they don't want to take, but one has to think about the youth also. After all, if they have decided to come out with this thing, some merits might be there. Anyway, thank you very much, Ms. Advocate Anita. Now my question goes to Ms. Karishma. Ms. Karishma, I received one statement from Mr. Dulichand Karel. He is the national president of Bharatiya Swarnkar Sangh. That is the Jewelry Association, Indian General, he is the president. And he has mentioned, I am quoting him, I quote, live-in relationship will crush the Bharatiya culture entirely, and resulting multiple copulation will also affect the brain and intelligence, which medical science authenticate. Now, my question is, do you agree with this type of views, a very, very strong view of somebody who holds a very important position as an All India and national president of a Jewelry Association? Ms. Karishma, please.
Well, I find this very, very strong, very, very stringent, but I do respect where he comes from because that's his perspective. Having said that, I do not believe in anything being purely written in black and white. I believe it's a mindset with which you go into a relationship. It is about the protection that you have in that relationship, the sense of security that is very important. For somebody who's heading something where jewelry is concerned, he definitely would want marriages to thrive because after all, everyone needs to purchase jewelry to be married. But having said that, on moral grounds, on legal grounds, I don't hold a high horse on morality and say, no, marriages are better than live-in relationships. That doesn't apply to this conversation to me. But I do, where the legal perspective is, and we've got such amazing advocates on our panel today, I do feel that we need to also give dignity and legitimacy to people who choose to be in live-in relationships so that they are protected. So nothing written in black and white. I support marriage a lot more for legal security that is abided to it. But I even support, and I say this, live-in relationships where majority of two people coming in together and creating their own statutory laws within their relationship to protect each other is concerned. So it's a personal choice, go in with the right mindset with whatever you choose to do. If you're in a live-in relationship, create security for each other. If you're in a marriage, respect each other for the responsibilities you'll come together with.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Karishma. Although I don't understand what is the security today, girls and boys are working separately. They are earning. So why they require security? If boy leaves, fine. Girl has having the secure earning herself and the safety. If the girl leaves, the boy is also having the safety. For whom they require safety, I don't understand. Earlier it was fine when the girl was not working. When the girl is working, a boy is working. Many times we have seen the girl is earning more than the boy. At that time, the boy requires security, not the girl. So this security thing is also now for the past, because live-in relationships are mainly when there are two working girls and boys. But anyway, these are views which you have mentioned. I'm sure Mr. Dulichand Karel, wherever he is right now, and if he's watching our program, he should understand that this mentality of a Bharatiya culture is wrong, and he should understand what is Gandhar Vivah. If you read your own Veds and Purans and all those things, you will understand what we are. Then only you must teach us the Bharatiya culture and the Hindu culture. Thank you very much, Ms. Karishma. Now my question goes to Advocate Nidhi Banga. Advocate Nidhi Banga, Advocate Anita mentioned that marriage is basically a legalizing relationship, sexual and other thing, and for the children. Why there should not be a contract like domestic agreement among the live-in relationship legalized by the courts so that they can stay together? If there is a child born, that will be legalized automatically because they have an agreement or a contract. And if they break the contract, that it should be in such a easy way. Because why they are going for a live-in relationship, as mentioned in our earlier discussions, are number one, that they fear the peer pressure or the family pressure. They do not want to live with their families daily tutu meme. Secondly, they do not want that if there is a problem tomorrow, that there will be lots of legal proceedings. They have to run to the Advocate Anita and Advocate Nidhi Banga for divorce, and then the court says, wait for 6 months. compatibility, this and that, and whatnot, and the dowry, all those things they do not want, and the expenses of marriage. Then why not? What is the problem? Why not legalize the domestic agreement, which is a simple agreement among the two adults, and let it be like this, and the children should be legalized under that agreement. What you say about this, Advocate Nidhi Baba?
Sir, so right now, when we are talking about this agreement, so already there is no contract which is valid for the prenuptial contract. It is not valid in India, since Hindu marriage is considered as a sacrament. It's a sacred thing, and there can't be any contract per se in this. So if we talk about this live-in relationship contract, with what you are kind of trying to mention, that there should be a contract before entering into a live-in relationship. Now we need to go back to the Contract Act. There has to be a consideration. There has to be, now when we talk about live-in relationship, they don't want to get into any consideration, because they are like equal partners. They are not sharing anything in a systematic manner. Whether systematic, I would say it's a very individual and a very personal thing to say, because it's between two people, and how they are maintaining their relationship with regards to finances, with regards to various other things, and responsibilities and duties and rights over each other, and privacy rights. So we cannot to write that on a black and white sheet of paper is something, and making a contract doesn't seem to be a very very usual idea.
But Advocate Nidhi, you mentioned that it is not in India. What about other countries?
That contract we're talking about, prenuptial contract, yes, that is very much valid outside. And what, as per me, what I think is there should be a pre-marital counseling also, which will help these live-in partners to enter into a marriage, and in a better marriage. They should first, even that is not legalized here. Even counseling is not. There was recently a PIL was filed, and pre-marital counseling was being discussed. Though various what we could find out is various these marriage bureaus, they are having a pre-marital counseling concept. However, it is just for the sake of it. It's not happening actually on a very detailed manner, which if it is a mandate before entering in, before registration of any marriage, then at least couples would be taking marriage maybe as a live-in relationship, wherein they feel comfortable and compatible enough. And during that counseling, if they got onto some agreement, maybe oral agreements only, because it is not valid in India. So we can't think of that contract to sign. It's not valid. However, if we talk about this live-in relationship being accepted legally, then in 2000, Malamuth Committee was formed. In 2009, when this DV Act was introduced, then also Section 2F, if we talk about domestic relationship, it is actually saying any people living together in a domestic relationship out of consanguinity, marriage, and then out of relationship like marriage. So it's not that the legislation is not aware of this thing. They're already aware of it. And if I talk about the legitimacy of children, I won't say that, of course, there is no act to it. Children are not illegitimate as per, inheritance and all that. Supreme Court has come up with precedents, but it is not very naturally that they will go and succeed. They will go to their grandparents and then ask for something. It doesn't come naturally. What children born out of marriage, they have to again file something in court, and they have to fight it out, and then they will get. So definitely making it legal, there has to be a separate statute which need to come out. Precedents are definitely supporting live-in relationship.
So, Advocate Nidhi, the same thing has come. The spinelessness is in the legislature and the judiciary.
Strong legislation need to come out.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Advocate Nidhi. Now my question goes to Miss Archana. Miss Archana, now there are 2 points which has raised. One is marriage and one is live-in relationship. Now marriage the negative points which is prevailing in India, we are not talking of India. First is dowry. That's why the girl have a psyche today. The young girls, they feel that it's humiliating. They feel that we are a commodity and we have to pay they have to give, my parents have to give money and the dowry. That's why she doesn't want to go in the marriage. Second is domestic violence. What is happening in marriage is far more than the live-in relationship, if we'll see the percentage wise. And definitely the expenses on the marriage, how much money the fat weddings are taking place, and especially in North India, where people want to show off for their own whims and wishes. So these are the reasons. Plus, they see the behavior between parents at the home or seniors who have a husband and wife, and that's why they do not want to enter the thing. Secondly, the other way is the live-in relationship. The drawbacks are they cannot get the house on rent easily. Today, if they go to any society, they immediately turn them out. Their children, if they go to school, they were teased. They were not being accepted as a normal child. People always start done. This is societal thing. And wherever they are going, people treat them in a very downgrade manner. Don't you think something has to be done by the society in case our politicians are spineless, even judiciary is spineless? Why the society are not coming up and say live-in relationship and marriage, if you want the marriage is more than the live-in relationship, then these types of bad things in the marriage should be stopped legally, as well as these things should be legalized in live-in relationship. Then your merger, what you have said, can be done. What do you say about this, Ms. Archana Kumar?
It's a very wonderful question, sir. I must appreciate that. You were talking just about dowry. It's not just that, even the dissolving the identity of a girl. Like you may have seen that many traditions have this tradition, many culture, that they change the name of the girl itself, losing her identity itself. So let me conclude by telling a couple of things. Firstly is, why not emphasize more on cases which have been a success? You know, people have a tendency, human psychology is they believe what they see. So if we, in hand with the press, we try to explore, we try to spread the news. Why only poor cases are highlighted? Why only failure cases are brought? Let us bring to the limelight successful cases of live-in relationship where they have been able to stay together for so many long years successfully and very much bonded, and be able to produce a child who is very much responsible and a dignified person, a successful person, not in the terms of society, just being materialistic, but also a wonderful human being with good values. So if at all we bring in limelight such cases, people will start believing that. And no matter what, if they join hands with our other media, like say example, if a couple of movies are made, they would really be of much help, and that would in turn help the current politicians to bring it into the parliament for discussion, and definitely legalities would fall in place. Actually, it has already been acceptable, but only thing is the civic rights which is not attached to it. So cases of this type where they have been able to successfully present themselves wonderfully has to be brought into limelight. Like as Anita ma'am had said, the Kerala, the case, Arundhati or Anuradha, I think was her name. So such cases should be popularized. Why not make a movie out of it? So let's join together our hands, bringing up a healthy society. The institution from where they are sharing their relationship doesn't matter. That automatically blurs, because our intentions are to produce a good society.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, thank you very much. Now my question goes to Advocate Anita. Advocate Anita, are you there? Yeah. Advocate Anita? This, yeah. Advocate Anita, we have seen many cases that after living relationship for 5 or 10 years, the day they marry, within 1 month, they apply for the divorce. Why? It clearly shows that when they were living together, they were adjusting with each other. But once they marry, then the ego comes and then the bossism comes. So I think what do you say about this, Advocate Anita, that why not live in relationship? Why they want to go in the marriage and then apply for the divorce and the tedious procedure?
So I'll give you another example. This is one example you have given. I'll give you 11 years of relationship. I have also seen 20 years of relationship. I mean, married relationship, and then they are getting separated. I have also witnessed 11 years of live-in relationship, then got married, and within 6 months, they got separated. Now, what about that? So it's all about immaturity. You are not, it is completely individual personality. It's nothing about legal or illegal or live-in or marriage. I completely disagree with this. I mean, like Archana ma'am said, it's all it's a matter of individual personality, how you are compatible with your partner. So that is the all question answer of all the questions.
Okay. Thank you very much. Now my question goes to Miss Karishma. Miss Karishma, being a counselor, you might have come across with those families or those live-in relationships, children, or those who have, what impact on the mentality or the psychology of the child born out of live-in relationship? Is it the same one as from the marriage or different?
It sadly is not the same. Because I know you don't like the word security, but I'm going to bring this out here. Is that what happens when a child born out of a live-in relationship, right? That child is aware that there is no legal binding and that child is not legitimized in the relationship and existence of that relationship. And this has a deep bearing of that child going into adulthood. In my 20-year career as a psychotherapist and a counselor, I have come across these kind of cases where they have come into their 20s, they have either taken to drugs, to gambling, to alcoholism, because they don't have what we would call in Hindi a vajud, an identity. Because they see everyone around them with a strong parenting identity. And this is an issue. It is an issue. Because you know what happens, and I say this as a metaphor, is that we are born out of the coming together of two seeds and create our tree. That tree's roots is in the legitimization of our relationships, not just from the law perspective or the legal, but legitimization goes beyond the man-made laws. And when your identity is concretized by the coming together of a relationship that is recognized in the society that we belong to, because we all are social animals, then we do have more confidence to go out there and be much better humans. At the same time, just to quickly conclude this is not to say that people from dysfunctional marriages, children from dysfunctional marriages do not have personality disorders. They do too. And yes, I do agree. It's about two people coming together, taking responsibility to ensure that everyone benefits from their relationship.
Okay, thank you very much. Now my question goes to Advocate Nidhi. Advocate Nidhi Banga, are you there? Yes. Advocate Nidhi,
Yes.
the main problem which we have when we are discussing found out that this is because the girl or the boy doesn't want to enter in the marriage. One of the reason is the legalities, legal complications if they would like to go to for separate, because they feel that they are free if they are not in marriage. So tomorrow, if they do not want, they can say goodbye to each other and they can walk out. Don't you think this is the right time that we have to revisit our marriage laws and make it so easy that even in the legalized marriage or the marriage which are taking place, if anyone wants to walk out, instead of waiting so much time or giving so much legal hassles, if the decisions can come fast, then definitely the live-in relationships instance can be reduced.
Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So yeah, as suggested by Archana ji, that laws should not be that cumbersome, and yes, these dowry laws are definitely a very big shackle, which is like, it's very tightening and it's very threatening to the families even, because see, if I talk about civilized society and the kind of society we have witnessed, dowry is not something which is that demanded and on a threat it is asked for, ki we will not marry. Today's girls are independent enough, and these are like, exchange of gifts rather, and out of love and affection. So either this whole idea of such marriages, such way of doing marriage should be abolished. There should be like there shouldn't be any marriage of with pomp and show and with with a lot of gifts, and this should be abolished. There should be like a mandate that nothing of this should be happen. If this has happened, then it will not be registered. There has to be some strictness somewhere, because in the name of culture, in the name of customs, that this is our custom, we demand this much, our son would be married with this much of
Okay.
use certain words which are very heavy in certain customs and cultures. I would not name it.
Okay, Advocate, thank you very much. A long discussion of this on topic. We can have a separate discussion on this about the fat marriages. Now, my last thing, 30 seconds, Miss Archana Kumar, if you have to give one suggestion, apart from the legality, to the society, what suggestion you would like to give?
Oh, very much. Thank you so much. I would like to suggest only one thing. Legalities doesn't work unless there is change in society. I would like to put up in one line. जब तक हमारे पुस्तक में, कक्षा 1 की पुस्तक में यदि ये नहीं लिखा गया कि राम क्रिकेट खेलता है और सीता कुएं से पानी लाती है, instead of this, if it is not changed, सीता क्रिकेट खेलती है और राम कुएं से पानी लाता है. The change starts there.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Archana Kumar. I am sure that the Indian cricket team will start steering there in South Africa. Thank you very much. And so, viewers, you have seen, it's a very complicated but very simple problem. If you, the civil society, take a decision, after all, why the youth are going out for live-in relationship? Because of our fault, not the fault of anyone else. Why to blame politician? Why to blame the judiciary? We are on fault. If we give them the atmosphere at our home where they feel that the marriage is a very pious institution, it's a house is really a heaven to stay, then definitely no girl or boy would like to go for the live-in relationship. They become rebellion to see the atmosphere at home. Don't ask for dowry. Don't go for the fat wedding. Then only you will feel that the live-in marriages will decline themselves and they will merge in the. But there is no harm to have some the boy and girl to know each other. That is fine. That should be allowed. But after that, they will enter. And definitely the legality, I will say that our dowry acts and other things, and even the divorce acts should be revisited, so that at least the young generation will not have any fear about the legality. Thank you very much. And today's program has been live telecasted by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV India, News Gaon se, Samvad Sarokar News, Bharat Post News, Karu News, as well. It was shown live on Facebook and YouTube. And in our endeavor to bring to you every day a new topic. And tomorrow in media conference with Lal Goel at 10:30 a.m. It's a thought leadership series where I ask straight questions to my chief guest and she has to reply. Tomorrow is the topic is MSME in 2021. And my chief guest is Miss Vinita Hariharan, She is the national level public policy expert, Chief of Program, Ministry of MSME, Government of India. She will be giving reply to my straight questions about the situation faced by MSME in 2021. So please tune in tomorrow for media conference with Lal Goel at 10:30 a.m. Thank you very much, Advocate Anita Mahapatra. Thank you very much, Ms. Karishma Chatpati. Thank you very much, Advocate Nidhi Banga. And thank you very much, Ms. Archana Kumar, for giving very, very enlightening and thought-provoking views. And I am sure all our viewers who have watched our show today are also going to have their views and may change some of their views in favor of the youth.